Reiner, Joe Lozano, Rory McKinney. Each candidate has 1 minute to state qualifications and their vision for office. Go ahead and start with Mr. Hayne.
Good afternoon, everybody. My name's Tom Hayne. I live here in Midland, of course, currently Chief of Police at the University of Texas Berkeley Basin Police Department for the last 12 years. I'm from Big Spring originally. I grew up there, spent my first 9 years of law enforcement there, met my wife there. We've been together right at 30 years now. I have 2 grown sons. One of them is a sheriff's deputy in Hector County. I have 4 grandsons. I spent my time in Big Spring, 9 years, came to Odessa, worked in Darien and patrol there. Eventually went on to Page, Arizona, was chief of police there for 5 years, where I was also acting city manager in the city manager's absence. And then I came back from Arizona to Midland, where we live now. Been chief of UTPB for the last 12 years. I've ran 2 agencies.
Time.
Thank you.
Sorry.
Go ahead, Mr. Kreiner, you're next.
I'm David Kreiner, and I'm your candidate for Midland County Sheriff. I have 30 years experience in law enforcement, 25 of those 30 years in Texas DPS. I was a sheriff's officer here at Canada for several years, and the constable precinct #1. With that experience, I am proficient in traffic law, criminal law, family code, and civil law. My intention is to run with Justice Gary Painter. I plan to have an office that's defined by its integrity and professionalism. My goal is to keep criminals off our street while working with other agencies in the county, and also to progressively go after the drug dealers and monitor our sex offenders who are preyed upon our public. I also want to have an agency that will search out our veterans to come be a part of your sheriff's office. DPS is premier law enforcement agency, and I want your sheriff's office to be just as recognized to be premier as DPS. Thank you.
I'm gonna read this. My name is Joe Lozano. I have been happily married for 39 years. Have 2 children and 3 wonderful grandchildren. I'm running for Midland County Sheriff and ask for your support in my election with your vote. Please review the candidate profile and tell your family, friends, businesses, associates, and clients about me and my candidacy. Thank you in advance for your assistance and support. As a small business owner for 35 years, I have plenty of experience and skills required to effectively meet the objectives of this office. As your sheriff, I pledge to diligently study each issue, listen to the position of others, treat all people with respect and courtesy, seek the best available solution, administer fairly and effectively.
Time.
That's quick.
It does go quick.
Short.
Mr. McKinney.
Good afternoon, ladies and gentlemen. Thank you for coming.
Sorry.
Okay, all right. We're good. My name is Rory McKinney, and I'm currently the Chief Deputy for the Midland County Sheriff's Office. I graduated high school in Alpine in 1985, and in January of 1986 I went to work for Sheriff Painter, and I've been there ever since. I'm the most tenured employee at the Sheriff's Office, and I'm the 3rd most tenured employee in the whole county. I have working knowledge of every section within the 2 divisions at the Sheriff's Office because of that time I have worked in those sections at least once or twice. And I appreciate your support, and I appreciate your vote for the next Sheriff of Midland County. Thank you.
We'll take these questions in a sort of a random order for the candidates as we ask the rest of them, so that not one person gets to hear just everybody's responses before they give their response. So we'll mix it up a little bit. We'll start with David Kreiner. How much does Gary Painter's legacy factor into the Sheriff's Office leadership moving forward, and should it? Which areas will you seek to differentiate yourself from Gary Painter?
I can't fill the shoes of Gary Painter. I can only continue the successes that he had. And that was making Midland a safer place to live, work, and raise a family. I worked with Gary, we were partners from 81 to 84 before we did DPS. He encouraged that they would go to DPS, you need to learn traffic and criminal law. When I retired from DPS in 2010, Gary said, come back to work for me, and I'll put you in the family code with juveniles. And then when I ran for office in 2012 for constable, he said, Dave, you need to get the civil law back on me. So I followed his recommendations for my life. As far as change goes, you can't change what Gary's done. He's a legacy.
Please be sure to speak up.
He's a legacy in Midland County. Dear friend of mine, like I said, and I want to go in a direction to keep that going, but I want to also make sure that we have a relationship with other law enforcement agencies in this county to get the criminals off our streets. I also would challenge you to not only look at my qualifications that I have, but also look at my character. And my character reflects that, and Gary Painter's character as well. Thank you, I appreciate you.
Mr. Lozano, I'll repeat the question. How does Gary Painter's legacy factor into Sheriff's Office leadership moving forward, and should it? Which areas will you seek to differentiate yourself from Painter?
I believe it would be completely different. His legacy has taunted me. I
Please
believe
speak up.
that his legacy has taunted us in Midland. You've got so many things that he has done that people very much didn't like. I believe we need to, if the county commissioners didn't choose people to be sure today, where we're having to run, that's a big difference. I mean, the county commissioners is trying to tell us something. What's wrong with the sheriff's department? That's not good for the people. They're trying to warn us, to warn the people of Midland. Y'all need to look at it and face the truth. It's different if he was still alive. If he would have had somebody already assigned for that position. He wasn't alive, didn't make it, to set somebody in place. I know he had a lot of knowledge, that's for sure. I worked with him a little bit, but today it's time to make a difference. You got a clean house. Got a clean house, very bad. Bring in different people, bring in DPS troopers to help, veterans, bring in Texas Rangers, veterans to help, because they can't clean themselves. It ain't gonna work. It's time to clean out the swamp. If nobody wants to do it, I can do it. Because I have no good memories there that needs to be done. Of good things. He's made a lot of bad images there. And a lot of people don't like him, didn't like him, and still don't.
Mr. McKinney, question. How much does Gary Painter's legacy factor into the Sheriff's Office leadership moving forward, and should it? Which areas will you seek to differentiate yourself from Painter?
I believe Sheriff Painter's legacy is enormous for the citizens of Midland County. And apparently, a lot more people liked him than disliked him because he was elected sheriff for over 30 years. His legacy will continue. Everything that he did was good, and what we're going to do is build on that good. We're never going to stay stagnant. We will always strive to be better. The employees will always strive to be better. The employees will be learning, and the supervisors will be teaching. And that we will continue with our training like we have for many years. We have training every week at the Sheriff's Office. And fortunately, we can use our own instructors, which the schooling is free. We invite other agencies to come in, which is free, and to help on their budget. And we will continue to help the citizens of Midland County. Thank you.
Tom Hain, same question. How much does Gary Painter's legacy factor into Sheriff's Office leadership moving forward, and should it? Which areas will you seek to differentiate yourself from Painter?
Well, none of us will be Gary Painter. Gary was my neighbor. I consider him a dear friend, good Christian man, but he's gone, and none of the four of us will be Gary Painter. Won't be able to do what he's done. Although he's done a lot of great things in the sheriff's office and he was well liked in the community, there are some things that can be changed. Whenever I leave the current position I'm in, there'll be someone that comes in behind me and makes change. So there's always change. There's always things that can be improved. One thing that I will work on is transparency. You know, over the years, we can all admit there wasn't always such a great relationship with Commissioners Court. I will work to enhance the relationship with the Commissioners Court, the county judge, the district attorney's office, and other law enforcement agencies. I came up in the early 80s in law enforcement, much like Sheriff Painter did. We all used to, these are my toys, this is my communication center, this is my jail, this is my officers, this is my territory. I think law enforcement's grown over the years, they've been educated, and we've got to get out of that mentality. That mentality still to a point exists in Midland County. When August 31st happened, the active shooter, we were heavily involved in that at the university. Command post was there, we had officers deployed out. One of my officers was one of the shooters at the end. We have got to get to a point where we can talk together on the radio. Everyone in Ector County could talk together on the radio. No one in Midland could. That caused some issues. There's jail issues we need to iron out. There's a high turnover rate in the jail. There's some training issues, probably some supervisory issues that need to be addressed. So we'll move forward with that. We want to shore that up. We always want to work on professionalism and training of the department. And I assure you that with my background, I can get that done. Thank you.
Mr. Lozano, and I will remind candidates, please speak up. What has been the area of local law enforcement most impacted by recent growth? And what plans do you have to contend with that?
I plan to change a lot of law enforcement in the sheriff's department. I plan to look to hire more DPS, more to help the ministry. You need more law enforcement that's honest. Honest to protect you, the people. I believe the DPS is very trustworthy, very honest. Second, Texas Rangers are very honest. And I believe if I'm hired, I'll be hiring them too. We have to have strong sheriff department. You know, it's bad the way it is. Y'all know it, I know it, we all know it. Nobody wants to talk about it. I'm talking about it. You have to make a change, a complete turnaround. You can't keep what's there. It won't work. Y'all know it and I know it. So, best way is to do it is fire a lot of people. That's what I'm looking at. Firing a lot of people. Just like my President Trump did when he got in office. He fired a lot of people. I'm looking at doing the same. There's no embarrassments or whatever. He did what it took to take to make America great. And that's what I believe. Making Midland County great again. That's the best thing you can do. I see no other alternative of changing what's there today. From the top all the way down. Thank you.
Mr. McKinney, what has been the area of local law enforcement most impacted by recent growth here in Midland County? And what plans do you have to contend with that?
It would have to be our influx in population. Our traffic our traffic has grown, and we're having wrecks almost every day, fatalities. We have curtailed that a lot with our local partners and also with DPS. They're bringing in numerous troopers to try to help us as a county with that. And also Narcotics is always a huge issue. Any crime that you have, whether it be a theft or a burglary, you can always trace that back, and you will always find that narcotics was somewhere involved in that. I'm not concerned about where, as Midland County Sheriff, I'm not concerned about where or how narcotics is coming in to our country. We have good people that are federal and state authorities, again, that are working on that, and they do a good job at trying to curtail that down on the border and wherever it's coming from. My job as Sheriff of Midland County is to protect Midland County. I'm worried about the local street leaders here in Midland County that are affecting our families and our children. And that's what I intend to do. If they need help, if the federal authorities need help, like we've done years before, of course we're going to help them. Thank you.
Mr. Hain, same question.
Sir. Before you can do anything, you have to man the streets. You have to have a presence out on the streets. You have to have proactive patrol. My brother asked me the other day when we were putting signs out for the 5th day, how many Midland County Sheriff's units I'd seen out in the county. In 5 days, I'd seen one on FM 307. That's an issue to me. We have got to look and examine how we have people deployed in patrol. If there are excess of people in CID or loaned out to task force, those people could be drawn back into patrol. I know there are times there are 2 deputies on the patrol. That's never acceptable. That's a community safety issue, and it's an officer safety issue. So I think we need to look at the deployment of how we have our folks assigned. There's other things we can do. Someone spoke about the traffic issues. Right now, your sheriff's deputies don't work accidents. So if the highway patrolmen are tied up for 2 hours, the sheriff's office can sit on the interstate with you with their lights going and direct traffic for 2 hours. We're going to learn how to work accidents. My guys currently work accidents. Sheriff's deputies can work accidents. There's no reason for you to sit beside the road if you've had an accident and wait for highway patrolmen for an hour or 2 hours while we could be there working that accident. So we've got to work on the numbers out there. We've got to train our people to work accidents, to do DWIs. It's not the vision to put people in jail, but it's to gain compliance. And that's why we work traffic. That's why we write tickets. That's why you arrest DWIs. You want to gain compliance from the public so they're not doing those things. You want it to be a deterrent. So basically, we need to look at how we have people deployed on the street without costing the taxpayers any more money. Redeploy some people onto patrol and beef that up so we have a safer community. Thank you.
Mr. Kreiner, same question. Area of local law enforcement most impacted by recent growth. What plans do you have to contend with that?
What I see happening in Midland County over the past few years is the growth from people that we don't even know anything about. They don't seem, I say this, the same values that we have in West Texas. We don't want that to jeopardize. We're going to keep our level of professionalism up. We're going to aggressively see who these people are, monitor them if they're criminals, and make sure that they abide by the law that you and I were raised up to believe in. It's tough being law enforcement right now because we have so many things on our plate. We have to be the judge, the jury, the counselor. And it's difficult sometimes to do be that. But at the sheriff's office, we need to have people in those positions, like for mental health, to have mental health deputy out there all the time. We need to have traffic out there all the time. We need to have a command presence, or we do a DPS. I know DPS struggles because I was a highway patrolman for over 25 years. In Midland County, we're going from accident to accident to accident. We have to have some command presence and accountability out there for people in a driving skill. We've seen recently how drugs have affected our community. We need to go out there and not necessarily pursue the buyer, but who's distributing this stuff to our kids? You know, who's putting it out there for those kids? We need to get those guys and held them accountable. Work with our DA's office and share our information with the PDs, the school district, the Warrant Service Division, because we don't communicate. Have never communicated. I worked for DPS for over 25 years, and I was sheriff for 15. And DPS is more of a help unit to the agencies, but yet we never did work together for some reason. I'm not sure why that is, but I had that experience with DPS. The city knows me by now, and all the deputies know me by now. And the DA's attorneys know me as well and know my character. Thank you.
Next question. What improvements need to happen with the jail or its management? We will start with Tom Hanks.
That's the hardest question of the day right there. There are a lot of issues in the jail. Some of you know that because you work within Midland County, you're an elected official. Some of you citizens here may not know that. The week that Sheriff Painter died, there was a suicide in the jail. It still hadn't been made public. You have my word that if I'm elected sheriff, when I'm elected sheriff, you'll have transparency. If there's a sexual assault in the jail, if there's an aggravated assault, if there's a suicide, if a jailer has sexual relations with an inmate, we're going to put that out there to the media. If you don't put it out to the media, people come up with theories on their own. Why wouldn't you tell the public? Why didn't you let us know? And I'm not suggesting any time that an employer or anyone with Midland County has done anything unethical to inmates, but people develop conspiracy theories. So you have my word to put these things out when they happen, whether it's in patrol, in CID, in the jail. If we have someone that commits suicide, we have an officer conduct issue, anything like that, we'll immediately go to the media and be transparent to the public. It'll also be put out to the county commissioner's court. I think there's a lot of training that needs to be done in the jail. There's probably some leadership issues there. Maybe you need to rearrange some of the leadership over on the jail side of things. You certainly do need to do some additional training. I think employees and inmates both probably be treated better. You've got to treat everyone with dignity and respect. That's not just the inmates, but that's the employees too. They have to feel like they're an integral part of the department and that they're needed. And certainly the jail folks, the detention officers, are as important as the patrol officers.
Same question to Joe Lozano.
I believe I need to hire more, we're going to call them veterans. Hire veterans, full-time, part-time. They're already experienced. They can handle our jails. Very simple. Get veterans that knows what they're doing and knows how to handle people. When they're, our government sent them out to go fight. They're here to protect us. Veterans will protect us full-time and part-time. I believe the jails are very crowded, very overcrowded. You know that, I know that. Nobody seems to can solve the problem. I can solve the problem. I'll start signing bonds out on people. Young kids don't need to be there for 10 years, 1 year, or even 1 day. The sheriff is the only one that has the authority to make bonds on the inmates. Get them out. Mom, dad, uncle, aunt. Sheriff, I need to get my baby out. I need to get my kids out. I'll sign that bond. Get them out. Get them out on personal requirements. Do not make them become criminals in this society. Help them. Get preachers involved from different churches to come in and help us. Help your kids, your grandkids. That's what we need. Help from churches too, to come into jails and help the kids. Do not let them become criminals. Do not let them. We have to help our children, make our children better. They will be the ones running this community when we get old and we can't do anything. They'll be the one running the community. We've got to protect them, take care of them today, now.
Time. Same question, David Craig.
I thought about this question quite a bit, and what I've concluded is that my first step would be to meet with local sheriffs that have the same problems we have in Midland County, see how they remedied that situation. And then take those ideas to the jail commission and say, these are what we talked about, are these your guidelines, yes or no? Because they're the ones who mandate what we can and cannot do, the commission does. And then once we get the okay from those folks, then I'll meet with the local agencies in Midland County and say, these are our options, because this is not a Midland County Sheriff's Office situation. This is a Midland County situation. All agencies are involved in it because everybody brings their prisoners to where? Midland County, and the sheriff is responsible for that. When that happens, we bear the brunt of it. But I guarantee you that whatever the decision that will be made or is implemented, it will not sacrifice the safety of our citizens, because you guys are priority one in my book. Thank you.
Rory McKinney, same question. What improvements need to have happened with the jail or its management?
Our jail population as of Friday morning was 485 inmates, and we have a 500-bed facility. In this year's budget that we're currently operating on, I intentionally put, I believe, $100,000 that the Commissioner's Court approved for outplacement of some of those inmates in anticipation of our overcrowdedness. Due to our population, we have just grown and grown and grown, and therefore here comes the criminal element, and our jail is going to grow. We are responsible. The Midland County Sheriff's Office is responsible for housing those inmates. The closest place that we have found so far for outplacement of some of the inmates is El Paso, and that's 5 hours away. That's putting those inmates on the streets, danger to them and also the employees, keeping the employees away from their families because they're having to take these prisoners to El Paso. The other option is another county, and it's still far away as well. I am prepared. Our population isn't going to go down, so therefore our crime isn't going to go down. I am prepared as the sheriff of Midland County to go before Commissioner's Court and add on to the jail. That's the only thing that we can do. We can no longer keep outplacing these inmates and keeping them on the road and keeping our employees in jeopardy. The management is running the jail as smooth as it can be. I don't know if, hope none of y'all has been in the jail. But we try to run it as smooth as we can, and we do abide by the jail commission. We have been inspected by the jail commission. They come in and inspect the jail, and we have passed almost every one of those. Thank you.